Hey everyone, it's Amber Connor with Sinless Sweets, and welcome back to the Sinless Sweets Kitchen, where today we are going to be making from scratch blueberry muffins. So I have to go ahead and tell you guys, growing up, I always baked in the kitchen with Mom, but it was always a little bit different because, sorry Mom, we always baked from a box. So growing up, I did box blueberry muffins, but today I'm gonna show you guys how to make blueberry muffins from scratch. And the best part, they're keto, low carb, sugar-free, and gluten-free. Let's get started. Okay, so as always, these are gonna be a 1-bowl recipe where we just throw everything into the bowl, pop it into our muffin tin and throw it in the oven, and it's done within 15 to 20 minutes. So the very first ingredient you're gonna need is going to be almond flour. So today we are just gonna be using 1 1/4 cup of almond flour. So we're just gonna pour that almond flour in the bowl. Now, if you guys have been following me for a while, you know you can kind of switch out some ingredients. So if you have a family member with almond allergies, you can always use coconut flour, gluten-free flour, or a different flour. Then we are gonna be using Swerve granular. Now you've heard me talk before about the different Swerve sweeteners that we use. Sometimes it's a confectioner, sometimes it's a granular. This time it's gonna be a granular. So this is going to be 1/3 cup of Swerve granular. So we're gonna go ahead and pour that in. And then we have 1/4 cup of almond milk. So again, if you have an almond allergy, you could always use goat's milk, coconut milk, or even whole milk if you wanted to. But this is almond milk today. So we're gonna pour that in. And then we have 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil. Now you can use vegetable oil, or you can even use a coconut oil if you wanted to. So we're gonna go ahead and start mixing some of those ingredients together. The one reason I really like this recipe is because it's super simple, it's easy to make, and who doesn't love a classic blueberry muffin? So our next ingredient is gonna be 1 egg. Now, with some of the recipes, you have to use a room temperature egg. This one can be pulled right out of the fridge, it's no problem. So we're gonna add an egg, and then we are gonna add a splash of vanilla. And I say a splash because I don't really measure the vanilla in this, so I'm gonna let you guys splash it at home too. And then we are going to be doing 1 teaspoon of baking powder and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So we're gonna pour both of those in, and then we are just going to mix. Now you wanna make sure that you save your blueberries for last and we fold those in, because if you mix the blueberries in while you're mixing all of your other ingredients in, you will have blue muffins instead of blueberry muffins. So just make sure you save those for last. And then this is going to be 1/2 cup of blueberries. Now you can use fresh store-bought blueberries, or you can even use frozen blueberries. Just make sure you take them out of the fridge or the freezer a couple minutes before you use them. So we're gonna put those blueberries in there, and again, that is 1/2 cup, and then we are just going to fold that in. Now, it's okay if your batter turns a little bit blue. That's just natural whenever you're using fresh fruit like that. And so you're just gonna fold those in. Now, this consistency is gonna be a little bit more runny. It's just almond flour. We're not using coconut flour this recipe. So we are going to mix all of that together. So that's gonna be kind of the consistency of the batter that you're gonna be using. And then this recipe makes anywhere between 6 to 7 muffins. So just pour out your scoop at home. I got a little bit of baking powder on mine, so I'm gonna wipe it off. But you can just use a 3 tablespoon scoop or just a spoon. I like to fill my muffin batter all the way up to the top. Even though it does have leavening agents in it, like baking soda and baking powder, because it is an almond flour base, it really doesn't rise all that much. So we're just gonna do 2 scoops of each in each of those. Now, make sure while you're at home, after you get done scooping this, that you set your oven to 350 degrees. So we're gonna set it to 350, and then these muffins usually take anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes to make. So yep, that's perfect. That's exactly 6 muffins. So I'm just gonna take the rest of this batter and put it in. Now, if you have a few extra blueberries you wanna throw on top, you can do that as well, but I really love the blueberries inside of my muffins. So we are gonna throw this in the oven on 325 for 15 to 20 minutes, and we'll be right back to show you the final product. Welcome back, everyone. So as you can see, we now have our homemade blueberry muffins. I put mine in the oven on 325 degrees for about 15 minutes. But the one thing about almond flour is to make sure it's done, just make sure that it's not jiggly. So if you pull it out of the oven and there's no jiggle to the muffin, then you know it's done. So you can kind of tap the top a little bit to see. So these muffins just came out a couple minutes ago. And y'all, look at that. All of those blueberries in there. I mean, these are probably one of my favorite muffins that we make here at the bakery. I hope you guys enjoyed them as much as I enjoyed teaching you how to make them. But let's just break one open so you guys can see. Look at that. All of those delicious blueberries. I hope you guys enjoyed making these at home today. In just a few minutes, I'm gonna clean up the kitchen and we are gonna make our classic keto chocolate cupcakes. You probably watched the episode with me and my son, Caden, and he wanted me to make cupcakes and I promised him that I would make them. So come back in a few minutes and we are gonna make some chocolate cupcakes. Welcome back, everyone. Before we get started, I just wanted to remind you guys that we do have a storefront location if you are in the Evans or Augusta area. We are located at 4336 Washington Road, Suite B in Evans, Georgia. Or if you don't live in the area, you can also order online from our website at sinless-sweet.com. Just click that top right-hand corner, hit that shipping menu, and you can have Sinless Sweets delivered to your door within 2 to 3 business days. So now we are gonna get started on our next recipe, which is our classic chocolate cupcakes. So a few episodes back, you probably saw my son Caden in the kitchen with me, and he loves to bake cupcakes in the kitchen with mom. So I promised him that we would make cupcakes on this episode. Let's get started. The first thing we are going to do is just get one bowl. Just like all of the other recipes that we do, everything is gonna be in one bowl. So it's just easy to make, easy to clean up. The first ingredient we have is almond flour. So almond flour, we're gonna be using about 1 1/2 cup of almond flour. Now, I really like using almond flour because it bakes better than coconut flour does. You notice if you've ever used coconut flour in the kitchen before, you probably get more of like a dry cupcake. Almond flour. Use the almond flour or a gluten-free flour. Both of those flours work great for cakes and cupcakes. The next thing we're gonna be doing is the cocoa powder. Now this is obviously a super important ingredient when we're making chocolate cupcakes. So I use Hershey's Classic Dark Cocoa Powder, but any cocoa powder will do. This is going to be 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons measured out. So we're gonna add that in there. We're just gonna stir that. That way you get your flour and your cocoa powder nice and mixed. Now I do like mixing these 2 ingredients first. Typically I just throw everything in a bowl and we just move it on. But there are some recipes when you wanna mix certain ingredients first. This is one of them. Almond flour and the Hershey's cocoa powder. Then we are gonna be adding in 3 eggs. So we're gonna add in 3 of those eggs. Now these eggs do have to be room temperature. You'll notice if you've been following me for a while that some recipes it matters and some it doesn't. These eggs you want to be room temperature. This is great because it makes that cake nice and fluffy. Then we are gonna be doing 1/3 cup of Swerve granular. So again, you've heard me talk in other episodes that I've done where the different sugars matter, whether it's granular or confectioner. So make sure this one is a granular. So we're gonna mix that all together, and then we're gonna be doing a splash of vanilla. And actually, I say a splash, but it's really 1 teaspoon. So we're gonna put 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and then it's going to be 1/3 cup of almond milk. Now, I use almond milk here at the bakery, but if you have somebody at home with allergies and they can't have almonds, you can always use goat's milk, oat milk, or there's all different kinds of milks out there that you can substitute. So we're gonna add that. And then our last ingredient is going to be 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And this just helps those cupcakes get nice and soft and they rise to be delicious cupcakes. So we're just gonna mix that all together just like that. And then this consistency, like anytime we bake with almond flour, is going to be a little bit more on the wet side, but that's totally fine. That's how you want it. So it's gonna look just like this. And now we're just gonna get our cupcake liner out. And we'll just move that to the side. And then for this, you can use a spoon, but today we are using a 1.5 tablespoon scoop. But if you have just a regular spoon at home, that works fine too. But we do use 2 of these scoops, which equals to 3 tablespoons. Now you don't wanna fill these cupcakes up all the way because you do wanna give them room to rise whenever they're baking. So you're just gonna do 2 scoops, which is 3 tablespoons in each cupcake liner. So this recipe, I usually get about 12 cupcakes. Give or take, it just kind of depends on whether or not you evenly scoop or you over scoop just a little bit. I like really big chocolate cupcakes. I don't know about you guys at home, but chocolate is probably one of my favorite flavors to make here at the bakery. And I think the reason that is because you can do so many different things with it. You can add peanut butter in the middle and do like a peanut butter buttercream and make peanut butter pie cupcakes. If you like German chocolate cake, you can make homemade German chocolate frosting. So that could be a different cupcake. My kids love peanut butter, so we do peanut butter cupcakes all the time. So we'll do this chocolate cake recipe, we'll fill it with peanut butter, do a peanut butter buttercream, and then of course, as you saw in the previous episode, my kids love sprinkles, so we put all the sprinkles. So we're just gonna finish this up. So it looks like today I only got 9 cupcakes, which is totally fine. If you wanted to make more than 9 cupcakes, you can always double this recipe, but we are gonna put this in the oven on 350 for about 10 to 15 minutes. Now again, it just depends on your oven at home, but 350 degrees for 10 to 15 minutes, and whenever we come back, I'll show you how delicious these cupcakes are. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. So as you can see, I have taken my chocolate cupcakes out of the oven. Obviously, this pan has been cooled, that's why I'm touching it. But we did bake them in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. A really good way to tell whenever they're done, just like the muffins that we baked earlier, is that they're not jiggly. So if you can kind of touch them and it kind of bounces back and a little bit springy, that's how you know that your cupcakes are done. So as I was talking about earlier, we love peanut butter in our house, and my sons absolutely love to eat peanut butter out of the jar. We actually have some peanut butter frosting already made up. Now, if you do not have a piping bag and a tip like we do here at the bakery, I have a secret for you guys. As long as you have a Ziploc bag and a pair of scissors, you can make your own piping bag at home. So all you're gonna do is just take this corner right here and you just cut just a little bit. You don't wanna cut too much, but you can cut just a little bit and you can put your frosting, I'll show you guys one. You can put your frosting in here. Now, if you guys have never made frosting before, it's just 3 simple ingredients. You have your butter, make sure it's room temperature. You have your sugar, which is make sure it's confectioner. And then you have a little bit of heavy whipping cream. Mix it all together in a mixer. If you don't have a stand mixer like we have here at the bakery, you can always use a hand mixer, but mix all of those together until it's light and fluffy. And as you can see, we already have some made here. We typically have lots of frostings here at the bakery already made, but you can take it just like that and you can swirl it on. Now, I'm not gonna say it's necessarily as pretty, but if you're making them for your kids at home, they don't have to be. So that is what it looks like if you do it from a Ziploc bag. This is gonna be what it looks like if you have a piping bag with some tips at home. Now, I really like peanut butter, so sometimes I will even fill the cupcakes with peanut butter. So you can just stick this down in your cupcake just a little bit and press that piping bag up, and that way you have a filled chocolate cupcake. The more peanut butter, the better, right? So we'll just frost off a couple of those, and then if you guys watched the episode with my son Caden, you know he loves sprinkles. So he is in school today and could not be here with me today. So in honor of Caden, I am gonna put all the sprinkles on the cupcakes. I'll have to take these home to him tonight. So you can see just a few sprinkles, a little bit of peanut butter. Now, if you wanted to make this exact peanut butter frosting, it's 2 sticks of room temperature butter, 1/2 cup of Swerve confectioner sugar, and about 1/2 cup of peanut butter. Mix it all together and you get this consistency of a peanut butter buttercream. Thank you guys so much for joining us in the kitchen today. I really hope that you guys enjoyed making these cupcakes. You'll have to let me know how they turn out at home. Remember, if you're watching this YouTube channel, to like and subscribe so you can stay up to date on all things Sinless Sweets. Also, don't forget about our storefront and our shipping menu. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you next time.